Here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. I hope you are all well on this stupendous Sunday. Sunday, the day of rest. Apparently the day of rest. Now, what I am going to do, I'm going to do the live with respect of the Idaho 4 documents tomorrow, not today. Mainly because I'm getting old and I'm still suffering from staying up all night to watch the Tyson and Paul fight. Well, fight, debatable. But anyway, what we're talking about, we're talking about Liam Payne this morning, because something that's bothered me, and if you've been around my channel for a little while, you'll know, and hold on a second, before I go any further, can you just do me a favour? If you're going to do me one favour whatsoever, smash the like button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, do that as well. Apparently, it helps the channel. It's free, and that would do me an absolute solid. But let's get swiftly moving on, because one of my issues is that obviously we're hearing that three people have been arrested or whatever, charged, and one of them being abandonment of a person followed by death. Now, we believe this to be Rogelio Norres, affectionately known by us as Rog. Now, it would appear that this is Rog. My issue with this is, obviously, there's some really contradicting and polarizing statements coming out of the lobby, with some people depicting this crazed mess of a being. This is heavily being leaned on by mainstream media. And then you've got some other people sort of flitted around there that says, well, he was fine. He was interacting with us. He had spoken to somebody literally, 45 minutes before the fall. Also, Rog himself has seemingly stated that he'd seen Liam. He was with him about 40 minutes before the fall, and he was fine, and he left him fine. So it's very clear that someone's lying, or some people really don't understand what is going on with Liam at this stage. Now, could Liam be completely off his nut and people not realise? Now, I struggle with this when we're saying that he was at a state where what happened to him would eventually lead to his death, that he's convulsing in the lobby, smashing up his laptop, and the hotel are saying that he is aggressive. And to be fair, who have we got? What evidence have we got of that, apart from as many people who have come forward and said this and supported this narrative? There has been an equal, or a number of people who have said, well, that's not what we saw. That's not what we saw. So the issue here is this abandonment charge, and it's been the bane of my life. So let's just quickly look at this article, because this is going to feed into it, which is Deadline, which say prosecutors claim Liam Payne's friendship with the Argentinian waiter may have led to death. This is obviously talking about Brian. We've heard Brian. I don't know whether mainstream media had split his interview into two parts, or indeed he's spoken to people twice, but seemingly it's been made to look like he's had a second discussion with media or someone, and he said, look, I'm going to explain everything. And the more you dig into that, I just don't know whether to believe. I certainly don't believe everything that comes out of his mouth. I don't. But for those of you who want to believe Brian, that comes with a caveat to it. And that comes with a very harsh caveat. And that is with respect of the abandonment charge. Now, some people, like I said, I don't know how the law in this place works, whether that is just subjected to the natives of the country. I don't think so. I would imagine that, as with anything that we see in the past, if you enter a country, you are to abide by their rules. And we're going to touch on that in a second, because I don't know whether some of the information that's coming out, like if there are elements of this that's true with respect of Brian, and we're trying to now say that Liam Payne was in this position where he was interacting with Brian while Kate was still there, and if the statements that have been recently surfacing suggesting that Kate was aware of an issue and she decided to leave, then when you look at the actual law itself and what that stipulates, then she would be as much to be held accountable of what happened to Liam as what Rogelio Norris would be. But this seems to be the point here. The events surrounding the sudden death of former One Direction star Liam Payne included striking up a friendship with an Argentinian waiter, the Daily Mail reports. You can't really trust anything that the Daily Mail says, but we've seen the interview. There is an interview, and in this interview, he is certainly alluding to the fact that he spent some time with Liam, and he is suggesting that he didn't supply Liam with anything. Not that anybody's going to admit to that, but all of the people involved in this, the abandonment charge, if it is Rogelio, the drug charges, everybody's denying everything. So that's the stance they're taking. So take that as you will. So on October 2nd, Liam Payne's girlfriend is still with Liam. She's still in the country. So if he's spending time with this guy, and this guy is claiming that Liam Payne was already at that stage high and he didn't have anything to do with it, then was Kate completely oblivious to what was going on? Did she not know? Or are these comments and rumors that are surfacing, do they hold any accuracy in terms of she left because things were becoming problematic and she just had to escape? Because if that is the case, then she is going to very much get caught up in the legalities of the law. And I will show you why that is. So let me just see if I'll see if I can bring up on the screen. I've just copied it into my notes. Thank you very much to the individual who sent me this information, because it is something that I think a few of us have wondered. So here's an example of the legal framework, key elements of the offence. Abandonment of a person. This refers to the act of leaving a person in a state where they are unable to fend for themselves. The abandonment could be physical, e.g. leaving someone in a dangerous location, or situated, e.g. failing to assist someone in a vulnerable position. Two, duty to act. The law applies to individuals who have... I'm trying to open this coffee. That's bad, isn't it? Starbucks. Other companies do coffee, but this is a little bit Christmassy, isn't it? I need it. So the law applies to individuals who have a legal or moral obligation to provide care or assistance. This could include parents, guardians, medical professionals, or anyone who voluntarily assumed responsibility for the individual in question. So they're people who have a duty to act. And this does go on. So let's have a look. So for the penalty to be severe, the abandonment must lead to serious bodily harm or death. The causal link between the abandonment and the outcome must be established. Basic offence. If the abandonment causes no severe consequence, the penalty is prison for 2 to 6 years. Aggravated offence. If the abandonment results in serious bodily harm, the penalty increases to 3 to 10 years in prison. So a baseline of 3 years there. If the abandonment leads to death, the penalty ranges from 5 to 15 years in prison, with a baseline of 5. So, relationship between the parties. The court examines whether the accused had a clear duty of care. Now, could it be argued that, in fact, Kate had more of a duty of care to act if she saw that there were issues that could inevitably lead to an issue over Rogelio Norris? Could that be argued? And again, I'm asking the question. I'm not saying that's the point. I'm just with respect of who in this situation. And before I get the fucking people who turn around and say, well, he's an adult, but we do have a duty of care. We do have a situation where if you're in a couple, if you're with someone, if you go, like, what would happen if I went on holiday and took Mrs. Harsh with me, and then something happened to her that I could have stopped, prevented, because I had a foresight into seeing where this situation was going to lead. And that's the issue there, isn't it? So factors considered by the court: relationship between the parties, intention and awareness, whether the accused intentionally abandoned the person or negligently failed to provide help. So again, this is going back to what was said, what did Kate say, and why did she leave? Was it because she had seen someone? Was this narcotic situation becoming an issue. Again, that's what we've been told. These are the statements that are being released. I don't know how factual that is, how true and accurate that is. I'm just saying that's what it's out there. That's what we're being told. So direct causation. The prosecution must prove that the death or harm was a direct result of the abandonment. And again, the argument here, I feel, is did Kate, being his partner, have the biggest ability to influence what was going on? Now, I know there's going to be some people who turn around and say, "Well, no, there. If somebody wants to do something, then they're going to do it, and there is a degree of that." But what did Kate do if she saw that things were descending into some form of chaos? Had she reached out to Liam's family? Had she gone to people who could have intervened or needed to know and say, "Look, I've come away, and this is why I've come away because this is happening"? I think these are questions that need to be asked. I genuinely do. So the Argentine Penal Code, including the law on abandonment of a person followed by death, Article 106, applies to everyone within the territory of Argentina, regardless of their nationality. The principle is based on the territoriality of criminal law, which is a standard practice in most legal systems, which is what we're talking about. If you're here and you're in our country, you abide by our laws. Any individual present in Argentina, whether a native, a resident, or a visitor, is subject to Argentine law. If a visitor commits an act or fails to act that constitutes a crime in Argentine law, they can be prosecuted. Duty to act. For the law to apply, the person must have had a duty of care or responsibility towards the individual who was abandoned. If such a duty exists, their nationality or residency statute is irrelevant. A tourist caring for a travel companion who becomes ill but fails to seek help, leading to the companion's death, could face charges under this law. And this here is the one, isn't it? This here. A tourist, his girlfriend, caring for a travel companion who becomes ill. Now, is becoming ill because they are a recurrent addict and they are being subjected to situations that are placing that sobriety at risk that could potentially lead to, is that going to be covered by this stipulation here? A foreign individual who witnesses someone in danger and chooses not to act might also be held liable, especially if their inaction violates societal expectations and legal obligations, not calling emergency services when reasonably expected. Again, could there have become a point where it was necessary to get intervention? Exceptions or defences. Visitors might argue that they were unaware of the duty or lacked the means to fulfill it, e.g., language barriers, lack of local knowledge. However, such defences are evaluated case by case. Hope this helps. I would suggest that ChatGPT becomes your new best friend with some forms of research. That's where that could come from. That was assisted by a wonderful subscriber and indeed ChatGPT. But that is the law. You know, I had to cross-reference it to see how accurate that was, and it was accurate. But let me know down below what you think. Again, this is ongoing. There is a lot of things swirling around this case, and there's a lot to digest right now. But I think the next few days are going to be very, very interesting. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will be doing a video later on just to touch on the Brian Kohberger situation, what is happening in that case, just to summarise things. But apart from that, I will catch you all tomorrow.